player on EU West, and we're going to be doing a coaching session over this replay. It's a very close game that he played versus a Malphite top lane as Singed, and I'm going to go over your runes and just your runes now, just your runes versus the Malphite. We're going to analyze those, and we're going to be at the same time looking at like your laning decisions and things like that. Because early game, the first thing that we're going to go over, I'm not sure why I keep doing that. The first thing that we're going to go over, because you are playing Singed, is proxy or not proxying. Is there a reason that you chose the decision to fast push?
I don't really know. I usually like to fast push every matchup. I don't really know why, but...
Gotcha. So, we'll talk about that in a second. You are running Arcane Comet, Ultimate Hat, Celerity, and Gathering Storm for Sorcery as your primary, and your Resolve is your secondary with Unflinching, which is Tenacity on Summoner spellcasts, and a residual Tenacity afterwards when they're on cooldown, and you're running Conditioning as your second rune in there for 10 armor and MR plus 5% armor and MR after 10 minutes. Sorry, I think it's 8 actually. I think it's 8. Yeah, it's 8. And then 5% afterwards. Versus Malphite, I think that's fine because you can get away with it since he is a tank and he doesn't really do that much damage to you in a trade. He's kind of poking you here a little bit because he's pushing into him, which is understandable because Malphite, that's what he's going to do. But you're not taking too much damage, so it's pretty okay. So in a game like this, I think you running Resolve as a secondary, especially with the Tenacity Mastery, because they have so many stuns and slows. Like they have Thresh with two slows. They have TF with a stun and a slow. Elise has a stun. Malphite has a slow. I think it's actually pretty good here. Plus, you get magic resistance from Merc Treads, which you're also going to have Tenacity from, which will also be amplified by the rune. Everything seems pretty good. I like this roam right here because your Malphite's pushed in and you're looking to help your team. So this is pretty good. You recognize that there's not much you can do top lane. You ended up coming mid and blowing her flash. That was really good. I like that a lot. At the same time, while you're doing that, he's pushing back up to you. Now, to go back to the whole level 1 proxy or not proxy thing, I think here it was okay for you not to proxy. The only thing I want to call attention to is while you started fast pushing, he was poking you. So like not a whole lot is different. That was a good fling into the tower. I like that. I'm gonna pause it there actually. While you were over here shoving it in, he was queuing you and poking you down a little bit. If you were proxying, he wasn't scouting for it since he was like standing right there. You could have gotten 3 waves without taking any damage, which wouldn't make a difference because you roamed mid afterwards anyways. But it's something to consider, right? If you think that every matchup is just like a fast push matchup, it might be good to like reconsider because you don't really need to fast push every matchup. Like something like Malphite, you can lane versus even, like you could let the wave meet in the middle, and then lane normally, see if you can like get trades on it with Fling or at level 2, things like that. Maybe get a kill on him in lane. I think you're actually about to kill him, which is good, but the idea is you don't have to fast push every single time. Like I usually only fast push versus range matchups when they deny my proxy. Like say this is like a Jace over here, right? Yeah. And whenever I go to proxy over here, leave the bush at 1 minute 10 seconds, and then start going around. If he's standing there to scout my proxy, then I'll just go back to lane, and then I'll fast push. And if he's not standing there, or if he's not standing here or here to scout me, then I'll just go ahead and start proxying. Because he's ranged, and if you lane versus a ranged champion, he's gonna harass you really hard. Malphite's different. Like he has ranged poke, but it's on a cooldown, and it's only like 60 damage at level 1. A Jace has that much damage on his level 1 auto attack, not including his Q, and he can spam the auto attacks, right? So it's kind of different versus a ranged top laner. So like personally versus Malphite, I would let him meet in the middle and see if I can trade with him there, because Singed is actually really good at fighting Malphite in the lane if it's pushed up a little bit, because he's kind of helpless if you fling him. He can like Q you, but your passive is really good versus his Q. Because if he Qs you while you're running at him and then you proc your passive, he actually doesn't steal that movement speed. He only steals the one you had before. So you end up being about the same speed, if not a little bit, maybe a little bit slower. So you can kind of keep up with him. Another good example of matchups that I would try and fight in lane is Riven. Yasuo is another one. Just people that you can like really get into melee range and mess with. Ones I would avoid, however, is like Ornn. I would probably try and avoid Ornn. Maokai is another one because those two are really strong.
These matchups.
Oh yeah, those are horrible.
Yeah.
I'm gonna back up 15 seconds. We're gonna watch how you execute this trade. So you're teleporting back to lane, that's fine. After you go mid, then you blow Lisa's flash. Really good gameplay there. They actually end up killing her here. Fling him into the tower. I want to call attention to that. So with Arcane Comet in lane, what you want to consider is it's gonna apply on the first instance of damage from an ability. So especially with him walking up right up to you like that, you could have poisoned him, then auto attack, wait for the comet, and then fling him. You know.
Yeah.
But what you did was fine because he took a tower shot, so he still takes a lot of damage. So it's pretty okay, I think. He ends up taking a lot of damage there. I'm gonna go ahead and hit play. Yeah, this is really good. I'm surprised he's not flashing, but I think he realized that he's gonna die. That was really good. Good job. But yeah, the rotation mid onto Elise to blow her flash was super clean. I like that a lot. Right here, he's keeping it in lane. This is good. Flinging him into the goo. Get a lot of damage onto him as soon as he comes back in the lane. He already used 2 corrupting potion charges. If you notice that, that's really big. So after you come back to lane, you're gonna have a pretty big sustained advantage on him if he pushes up. Yeah, I like the 2 dark fields and the corrupting. That's good. I usually stop at 2. Do you ever buy more than 2?
Hard matchups. I buy 3.
Which ones?
Kennen, Gnar, Teemo.
Okay. Who do you ban in ranked?
Teemo.
Okay. Gotcha. I banned Teemo too right now. I think Teemo's really way too strong right now, so I've been banning Teemo.
Yeah.
Gnar is a little bit easier, I think, now after he lost Fervor. At least for me, he doesn't seem nearly as strong. That is so annoying. Why is it doing that? There we go. Gnar's a little bit easier for me after he lost Fervor. Kennen's still really hard. Jace is still really hard. Teemo, obnoxiously hard. So it's a good ban right there, I think. I don't know if I'd ever go past 2 Dark Seals, though. Just because you already have a lot of AP from having Sorcerer as your primary. You get 25 AP from that. So you start the game, if you buy a Dark Seal, you start at 41. Then you buy the second one, you'll have 54, I think? No, 56. You'll have 56.
Yeah, 56.
I think you have 64 from having boots. No, you have stacks. You have stacks, that's what it is. So you have a little bit more than 56. But that's a lot of AP, or that's like buying more than that. I almost feel like it's too much gold to invest into early game. It's like right now you could go ahead and start, yeah, like that right there. You could go ahead and start buying towards your damage items. Now me, this game, what I would have done, considering the amount of CC that they have and the amount of magic damage they have, I would have probably just rushed Merc Tread as my first item. Just like for team fight safety, you know, like if you ever teleport bottom and Thresh has a box down and Malphite comes down and Qs you, Elite throws a E, you have that tenacity, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the MR on top of that's really good here too. Because they have 1, 2, 3, 4 magic damage dealers.
I just like damage. Can't play without it.
I gotcha. Yeah, it's good to be able to adapt your in-game strategy to things like that. Especially if you notice, like, because they took away MR runes, so even every time Malphite Qs you, even though he just has like Sapphire Crystal and Ruby Crystal, it's still chunking you pretty bad. Just because there's no MR, right? So that's always something to consider. Like, yeah, if you can get onto him, you'll hurt him really badly too. But the problem is getting onto him if he's playing safe. Which I guess not playing too safe there, so that's good. Pretty even trade there, I think. He started with a little bit of a higher amount of HP, so it was a little unfavorable, but it was a decent trade. He's out of corrupting potion charges, and you have one running, and you have another one coming up after that, so that's good. But yeah, personally, I would have gotten Merc Tread's first item, not only to be able to tank him better, but just have more movement speed so you can start proxying. Because like the way he's playing right now, it's very hard to solo kill him, right? Like if he plays very carefully like that back at his tower, it's very, very hard to go and dive him if he has that much HP. Because not only does he have his passive shield and his health bar, he has his ult, he has Q, he has flash up, he has all these different ways to CC you and escape under the tower, or even just straight up kill you if you're taking tower shots. Which is why I think running Merc Treads would give you the ability to get behind the tower and even like maybe engage faster. Situation like this. Ooh, that was really good. I like that. The extra movement speed wouldn't have mattered that much there. So it didn't matter there that you didn't have Merc Treads, but the movement speed is really noticeable. Like say like you just push this wave in, there's a wave coming up down here. Without tier 2 boots, like you're gonna have trouble getting all the way around here and down through here to get behind the tower where you can proxy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you end up in like this awkward situation where all you can really do is push into his tower and then like nothing because he can just farm under his tower.
Yeah.
That was a lot of commitment by TF. I'm not sure why he ulted that, but I don't think Graves is gonna get out. Are you recalling here because you don't have potion charges, or what's the reason?
Yeah, and I'm scared
no ult,
about
yeah.
TF.
Yeah, no ult either. Okay, yeah, I think that's decent. Good recall awareness. Definitely work on the lane trades with Arcane Comet. Like, usually the first one misses if you start playing first, but the second one will hit for sure. Oh, this is really good actually. You might kill him again. Unless he ults away. He might ult away. He doesn't have it actually. Did he use it versus the Graves down here? I think he did, right?
Yeah.
Malphite's ult? Yeah. Do you remember while you were playing this game if you had that knowledge in your mind of, oh, he already uses ult?
I think he typed it.
Okay. Gotcha.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
Okay, so your ult just came up. It would be hard to dive him because he's full HP and he just teleported back, so not the biggest deal in the world. I see you're going Haunting Guys first into Leandry's. Is that because they have Malphite?
Yeah, Malphite and... No, yeah, pretty much Malphite.
Okay. I think that's good. I think Leandry's first is fine here. That's what I would have done too. I like the Merc Treads by here. It's really good. Okay. Now, something I think to consider is the fact that the enemy bot lane is getting pretty fed, that Lucian is doing quite a bit of damage. He has Blade of the Ruin King already. So you have to kind of like, at this stage, you have to kind of think about how you're going to start playing your team fights. What was your plan right now? Like, say you guys get into a 5v5 dragon fight. What's your plan? Who are you going to focus? What's your target? When are you going to engage? When are you going to back off? What's running through your mind here?
I can't really remember.
Okay, I gotcha. Well, looking at it from this perspective, what do you think you should do in a team fight? With the items you have, with the items they have, and with the score lines being what they are, with Lucian being their main damage threat.
I think try to Joan, Lucian, or
okay.
TF.
Yeah.
And let them take free dragon if we rotate.
Gotcha. How are you planning on playing the rest of the team fight? Like say you manage to get onto Lucian and fling him. What do you do after that? Do you back off? Do you keep going forward?
Back off and try to get my passive. And
okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, that's what I would do too, I think. Some people would try and dive him really, really hard and then keep going through their team. The thing you have to remember about early game Singed, at least before before you have your second item, really, is you're still pretty freaking squishy.
Yeah, and they have so fucking much CC.
Yeah, they have so much CC, and you're really squishy. Like you only have like 1400 health right now. So some people would be like, okay, no, we're good to dive. You know, we have Singed ult running. He just lost so much HP. with item changes and base stat changes. It's very hard to play like that anymore. So it's good that that is your response. Now you're noticing that your bot lane keeps dying over and over. What's your thought process here about that? Are you thinking anything? Or?
Just thinking typical bot lane.
Typical bot lane, yeah.
Yeah. I should just TP bot, but
here's what I'm noticing, right? You have a 2-0 lead in lane versus Malphite, but you're having a hard time getting kills on him because he's playing so safe. What I would do here is I would go around the tower. I would proxy here. Then I'd try and proxy here if I can, and then I'd just like walk up mid and see if I can gank TF. Or I'd even recall here and then try and run bottom through here.
Yeah.
And try and gank bottom that way, maybe through here or something like that. Because there's not like you're just kind of farming, right? Like you have a lead, but there's not anything being done with it. You know, you have to like kind of spread that lead. You already ganked mid twice. Both times you ganked mid, you came out ahead. So maybe that's like the strategy that you should keep employing. You're doing it right here, which is good. Ooh, that was good. I would just wait, like not wait as long, you know, because he like Malphite was thinking the exact same thing. He was thinking exactly what you did. The key to out rotating him there is to do it before he does it. Because if he's gonna do the same thing and you do it too, then you want to do it before he does, right?
Yeah.
Because if Malphite didn't show up there, that you probably would have gotten 2 kills for 1, which would have been really good. It was still a good rotation, but just thinking about it a bit earlier, oh no, that sucks. Just considering it a little bit earlier, whenever you're just pushing and then backing off and pushing and backing off, you never want to be idle like that. You always want to see if there's something you can do to like impact the game, right?
Yeah.
It's because it's very easy for Malphite when you compare him to Singed to be able to impact the game. All he has to do is walk somewhere and push R on someone. It's very different for Singed because you have to actually rotate and set up, and you don't have gap closes, and you don't have really hard CC like that. So it's different for Singed where you have to play like that and think about what you're doing, whereas he can just be like a monkey and push R on someone, right? So you have to kind of think ahead like that. Leandry's is finished. That's really good. Give him a little bit of laugh spam. I like that. Your team's coming up to gang. You don't have ult. Oh, he actually went through with the TP. Okay. His ult's about to come up. I'm curious. Is there a reason you didn't fling the Malphite back into your team there?
That's really low. I tried to save it to Lucian.
Save it for Lucian, okay.
Yeah.
I gotcha. The thing you gotta remember about keep fighting without your ult is if your ult's not, if it's on cooldown, then you're really weak and it's really hard to dive, right?
Yeah.
That's why I think in a situation like if your ult's on it, basically you have to play like a bitch. Basically, you have to be Virgin Singed, not Chad Singed. You have to be Virgin Singed. But whenever your ult's up, you can be Chad Singed. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
So like in that fight, if you just stayed back and in a front line instead of a diver, because you can only really front line if you don't have your ults up, and you flung Malphite into your team, you guys would have won that fight pretty hard. Because then your team would, I'm assuming they would have backed off. Malphite wouldn't have gotten that big ult, and then if Lucian overstepped, then they would have probably killed Lucian too because Graves was rotating. Graves ended up getting screwed because you guys died due to Malphite ult as Elise was coming up, and after Elise came up, it was just bad news from then on. This is a good fight. I like this. It seems like Varus is not doing that much damage, but it's okay. I think you're gonna make up for it here. I like the way you're playing this. This is really good. Really good shutdowns there. I would ping Rift Herald here, personally. I think if your team goes to Rift Herald here, that's the best objective you can get. That top tier 1 tower is not really that important because the tier 1 tower bonus is already gone. After that's gone, it's really not the biggest deal in the world if you don't get this tower, which is why I would just go for Rift Herald immediately, because spawn timers are so low, right? You can only really get one or the other. You can get top tower, or you can get Rift Herald, or you can get mid tower. But for some reason, the team is trying to do all 3. Like, it's fine that they got the kill there, but they're probably not going to get this tower, right? We got the top tower. But the thing about Rift Herald is if you get this tower, or if you get Rift Herald, you can siege this tower. This is the most important tower in the game for early game to take. If you can take that tower, then it opens up the entire map. Like look at how dark your map is compared to how much vision they have on their map, just because of this one tower right here. It gives you vision here, here, back here, back here. It's a lot, right? So if you guys take Rift Herald, usually you can siege this tower, especially with you having a Blitzcrank. It makes your siege very, very dangerous with Blitzcrank. Because Blitz pulls someone, Cast burst them, Graves burst them, you can fling them back. It's really good siege. Varus is pretty long range too, and he has a poke build, so that poke build will be really good in his siege too, which is why I, personally, in a team comp like this, I would prioritize the Rift Herald. Very important objective, especially with you having the lead in top lane and Malphite being a little bit weaker than he should be right now. It'd be, I think that'd be the most important objective. I like the Rylai second item. The only thing I would consider is that Lucian is pretty big, and he's like their only real damage threat besides Elise. We already have Merc Treads for MR. Oh no. That sucks, we got caught.
Yeah.
I would consider maybe a Dead Man's Play as my second item here. Maybe even Righteous Glory, because your team doesn't have really reliable engage. Like, you have Blitzcrank, right? But the thing about Blitzcrank as an engager is it's very predictable. He's gonna walk up and try and hook, right? He can't really force that hard. He can pressure them with the hook, but if he misses the hook, then he's useless. So I'd consider Dead Man's Plate for sheer survivability, or I'd consider Righteous Glory for the engage. One of the two. I think both are pretty okay here. RG may be a little bit better, but Dead Man's Plate's fine too. Just for the armor and movement speed. They both accomplish the same thing. They let you go fast in a team fight. Because here's what I'm thinking is going to happen, right? You have a lot of damage, but the thing is, Lucian has a lot of damage too, and there's no armor to tank him, besides when you ult. Even then, it's like yeah, you have an okay amount of armor, but with that amount of HP, like either you need more armor or you need more HP. Rylai's gives you 300 HP, Dead Man's Plate gives you 450, RG gives you 400. And plus those two technically give you armor too. So the armor you get from those is going to amplify the amount of HP they give you versus Lucian. Yeah. Really good fight there. I like that. Good to back off there. But if you're noticing, like, they still did a lot of damage to you, which is fine because you won the fight. But it's something to consider, right? I'm gonna catch her here. What is this building into? Null Magic Mantle? I think Visage, right, is what I saw in your OPGG?
Yeah, Visage.
Gotcha. Yeah. I think Visage is a good buy. The only thing I would say is it's not a good buy right now. Right now, you still have time to go for like a Dead Man's Plate or a Righteous Glory or even like a Thorn Mail. One of those three items. Any one of them are good. I would go for Dead Man's Plate personally because it's very good. With the items you already have. With Rylai's and Liandry's, Dead Man's Plate is fucking deadly because you can spread your poison throughout an entire team very, very quickly. And you're super slippery with Dead Man's Plate. So that's what I would go for here. And the only reason is because that item is going to give you about this... No, it's going to give you the exact same amount of health that Spirit Visage will give you. And you have MR from your Merc Treads. So the thing about magic damage, right? Magic damage is very... Versus that team, it's very burst oriented. It's cooldown based. It's not auto attack based. So you can kind of predict when and how often the magic damage will come in, and you can adjust your positioning according to that. Versus Lucian, he's just gonna hit you, and he's gonna hit you, he's gonna keep hitting you, and it's never gonna stop until he's dead, or until you're dead, or until one of you is zoned out. And plus, he is arguably the most fed person on their team. So that's why, like, it seems counterintuitive because they have 4 magic damage dealers, right? But yeah, it'd probably be a little bit better to go. Yeah, I get the logic behind Visage here, but it might be a little bit better to go on an armor item here. Yeah. Does that make sense?
I don't know, maybe.
What are you confused about? What are you confused about?
Just thinking they are basically or magic damage dealers.
Yeah, they are. Here's the thing, right? It is they do have 4 magic damage dealers, right? They have Malphite, Elise, TF, and Thresh. Malphite's pretty weak. His damage is mostly negligible. Elise is pretty fed. She has Magic Pen and a lot of AP. TF he's kind of average. He's 4, 5, and 5, but he has a lot of AP. And Thresh, he doesn't really have AP, but he has base magic damage, right? So what you really have here is Elise and TF to contend with. Out of the two, only one of which is fed. And she has 18 Magic Pen, not including if she gets any from runes. I don't think any of the runes actually give Magic Pen, so that's not the biggest deal in the world. But she has some Magic Pen, 33 Magic Pen, okay? So, just wait, does this give Magic Pen? The little saber item? I can't tell, it's not wanting to. Oh, Leandry's, that's what I'm missing. She has 33 Magic Pen from Leandry's and Boots. With Merc Treads, you have 25, not including your ultimate. You basically nullify all of her Magic Pen. TF has less Magic Pen than she does, so you nullify his too. And then you have bonus MR from your ult to negate the rest of their magic damage, and you have health. So because their damage is cooldown based, and because it has to come out slowly and in chunks, you can kind of predict it, and it's easier to tank that way. Whereas with Lucian, because of the way his auto attacks work, and that he has attack speed, and now he has some crit and armor pen, and you don't have any armor, he's gonna hurt you a lot more than they are, even though he's only 1 and they're 4.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, should go Deadman's.
Yeah, Deadman's or RG, Thornmill, any of the 3, I think, would be fine here. You have to consider, just because with Blitzcrank you have to hit the hooks for it to be like a good engage, so RG would not be bad at all. The problem with RG is it only gives 30 armor, and Deadman's gives, I think, 50, right? I'm not sure exactly how much, but it gives more. So you have more survivability out of Deadman's, but your engage is not quite as strong, but it's still pretty strong, like engage-wise. So yeah, like armor here would be really good because Lucian is a very big threat on their team. And then afterwards, I think after that, Visage would be fine. And then after that, Thornmail would probably be the last item to cap it off, or maybe even a ZZ-Rot, so you have both.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what I would have itemized this game. We can go over this team fight here. This is really good. Really good catch onto Lucian. Oh, that was awesome. You recognize that he's going to take the Lantern, so you just ran over the Thresh. I like that a lot. Bring him into your team. Get a lot of damage. Good poison spread. The auto-attacking. That's good. That's good. I like that. Clean overall. Okay, cool. Nice. That was a good team fight overall. TF got out, but not the biggest deal in the world. Did he kill? He killed. Somehow Graves and Blitz died. I'm assuming it's going to be from TF and Elise. Oh no. Yeah, your bot lane's pretty bad. They are pretty bad. You're doing a lot of damage in the team fights, which is good. Your team fighting is good. I just think as far as itemization goes, it can definitely be a little bit different. Is this going to go into RG? Glacial Shroud?
Yeah.
Eventually, right?
Yes, I think.
Did you finish that first, or did you do Visage first?
I can't really remember. Maybe Visage first.
Okay, maybe Visage. Okay. Okay, this is good. Here's what I want to do. I want to go back and play this from your vision perspective. Okay. So you guys have vision of them. They just cleared it, and you're running around, and this is good. So far, not a problem here. Oh, that Malphite ult's huge. Actually, yeah, you're playing this team fights really well. It's surprising that you lost this game, and I'm assuming it's your bot line that's going to make you have an unfortunate experience here, but you guys are winning these fights pretty hard. Oh, Graves is low. I think they might steal it here.
Yeah, he's going to solo every time and die.
Oh, okay, I see. Yep, there it is. Oh no. No way. That sucks. I hate when that happens. He has a lot of movement speed from his Ludens and his Lichbane. So I'm thinking even with Deadman's Plate, it would have been really hard to catch him. I think Blitzcrank caught him though, which is, yeah, he did. That's good. Oh, he got out too. Nice, nice. So right here, what I would do is I would call for the team to just go straight to Baron again and keep contesting them for the. Oh no, he overstayed. Yeah.
Blue team's turret has been destroyed.
What I would do is just if Blitzcrank didn't die, I would have called for the team to just go right back to Baron because your death timers are up before theirs. You would have had Varus before they had TF. And I would have just had my team force Baron again and try and see if you can keep fighting and like making them take a disadvantageous fight. But then Blitzcrank got caught, so that sucks. Okay, I like this. Target illusion, that's fine. In a situation like that, where you're probably gonna lose anyways, it might be good to heal the Graves, but the problem is, like, Graves got hit by Malphite also, he's probably gonna die anyways, so it's hard to say, but I think you played that as well as you could have. Oh, the Baron! No, you're good, you're good. I wonder, I want to look back at that one more time and see this from Lucian's perspective. One more time. Okay. I'm just trying to select his positioning and stuff like that, because he's very aware of you, and then you fling him. Damn. That Thresh really saved him there. Unfortunate. I guess that's another situation right there where if you had Deadmans, you probably would have caught Lucian right there just with the movement speed because he was really close to you. You were kind of forced to fling the Malphite because Malphite was the only one you could get to there. Oh man, that TF is carrying really hard. I feel like it's mostly just TF. I don't feel like Lucian's really doing that much besides, like, he's hurting you in the team fight, which is kind of giving you some trouble, but he's not carrying like TF is, you know?
Yeah. And we are going to solo out of them and TF just gonna clean up. Yeah.
That's usually how it goes, playing versus a TF that's ahead. If your team positions poorly after a team fight, things gonna clean up. But yeah, it's like with the Deadmans there, you probably would have been able to catch Lucian because like you went in, you flung him, then you backed off, you waited for your team after Graves died, then you guys re-engaged. But he was so close to you and you couldn't fling him just because you're getting he was fast from his Black Cleaver. Now he has Phantom Dancer too, so he's even faster there. Lower cooldowns, more ease. Deadman's is really important versus a target like that. We'll skip forward a bit. So you finished Visage. You went into Elixir of Iron.
Yeah.
That's fine, I think. Tenacity is useful here. How much do you actually have? I'm curious. It does not say. Huh. But you have both your summoners up, which means you'll get 2 procs from... Let me pause this real quick. You'll get 2 procs of your rune from these two. Maybe even just 1 if you don't teleport, you still have your ghost. You'll still get 1 at least. Then you'll have Merc Treads, and you'll have your potion, which is quite a bit. But 3 different sources with diminishing returns. You'd have... And this gives like, what, 20 I think, to the potion? It doesn't even say. Okay, never mind. This team fights... Let's see here. It's good. Blitzcrank starts the fight. You're running forward. I like the Elise targeting. That's good. That Varus ult's actually pretty good too. Unfortunately, they killed Blitzcrank really quick. Oh. Yeah, ouch. Okay, so you got her.
Yeah, I maybe just try to steal them.
Maybe. It's really hard to say here, right? So, like, as soon as you turned for Elise, what happened was Lucian ended up getting onto Varus, And okay,
yeah.
so half of this is Varus' fault, right? Like he overextended, got caught by the Malphite ult, and then right there you kind of stop. Like, should I turn back for them or should I keep chasing Elise? Then we decided to chase Elise. What I want to call attention to is Lucian's a little bit more than half health and TF's half health. Unfortunately, Kassadin gets caught after he kills. No, he doesn't. He actually no, he does get caught. Yeah. So he kills Malphite, but then he gets caught here. If you had been in here killing your Kassadin, there's a possibility that TF would have had to gold card you, or you would have at least slowed him down, you know?
Yeah.
And done damage to him over that period. He would have been a little bit lower. Maybe Kassadin could have like turned on him afterwards, which he does anyways. But he misses the R, like the R missed, and he has to hit W and Q. And then he dies, unfortunately. But again, that's like, it's just a small team fight error, not the biggest thing in the world. Just because your AD carry is really, he's basically inting at this point. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But that is a different way that you could have played the team fight if your AD carry wasn't inting. Is just peeling your backline here, because it for Elise it takes Singe a long time to chase her down and kill her. He's doing a lot of damage to you. Your ult is down, but the Lucian damage is very noticeable. But maybe peeling there would have been a good option because of how low those two got. TF did have the hourglass, so it's. Do you have hourglass? You have stopwatch. He has hourglass, so it's a little bit harder to say, but you never know. Like the movement speed's slow and the extra damage. Kassadin did end up going for him afterwards, anyways. Maybe could have gotten a 1 for 2 there or something. Then you could have saved your bot inhibitor, right?
Yeah.
Let's see. Keep going. Okay. You just bought a second potion. You already had the one before, I think.
Yeah, it was running out.
Was okay? Yeah, it's about to run out. You're right. I think that's fine. In a situation like this, you kind of have to buy the potions just to see if you can do something.
Yeah.
Nice. That's a really good fling. He should die there. Ow, wow, that damage output. Yeah, the amount of damage that Lucian's doing is very noticeable now.
Yeah. I see it now.
Here, let's look at this fight from this perspective. So the first thing I want to bring attention to is you seem a little bit hesitant to run in. Is that just because no, you had your ult? Is it like because right up here, whenever all this is happening, like you're very hesitant to go in? Is there a reason for this? Like after Blitz gets hooked, you kind of are avoiding running in. You have the grounding on Lucian too, so like you could have ran in here.
Yeah, I'm not sure if Rush have ultimate.
Oh, okay, I see. I gotcha. Good hook dodge. Then you get the fling on Lucian. Now this is really good. You have him. You have these three right where you want them to be. You're in the middle of them, and now you're in front of them. But the issue is he's melting you basically because of the lack of armor. If you had a little bit more armor, you could have just done this. One of my favorite things to do as Singe is just run right here while he's doing that, just in front of him, and keep poisoning him, keep slowing him, keep damaging him, and just kind of sandwich him right. But he did a lot of damage to you, so you kind of had to back off. And then he ends up surviving with above half health. All this happens. But yeah, Deadman's would have been really good in a situation like that. Holy shit. Thornmail would have been really good there too, I think. Either one, honestly. I think Deadman's a little bit better. Just because of the movement speed. And he doesn't have that much lifesteal. He doesn't have any life. Well, no, he has work, but it's not a lot. It's like 12%, I think, 15%, not a lot. Basically, if someone has a BT, that's when you want to consider getting Thornmail, but before that point, it's not really important.
Yeah.
Also, if their support's healing them a lot, Thornmail can be important, but they're actually not really healing him, they're shielding him. And then after that point, it's just kind of... Yeah, he's gonna see. So the biggest things, I think, is your early game is... usually, whenever I coach people, they tend to only proxy, or they tend to like over proxy and not lane enough. I think I think in a game like this, it's kind of the opposite for you, where I think you laned a little bit too much and you didn't proxy enough. Because the thing about proxying, right, is whenever you're behind that tower, they have to deal with a whole nother 1 or 2 creep waves, depending on if you're here or if you're back here. They need to deal with a whole nother 1 or 2 extra creep waves worth of time, where you can just go mid and gank, or you can go mid and pressure. You can counter jungle too. If you're level 6, that's one of my favorite things to do. Is if you're 6 with full health, you just go look for the jungler and try and kill him. You can even recall and just run right to bottom. The most you'll lose if you proxy back here is 1 or 2 waves. Not the biggest deal if you can get a few kills here. It's a risk, yeah, but versus a Malphite, you shouldn't be too concerned about him farming up and outscaling you, because it's a Malphite, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, he's strong as he's a tank, but he's not going to be able to do that much more than you in a team fight with like a few extra waves of CS. Like right here, I would have tried to walk around and start proxying. I would have even tried to walk past him and start proxying, because if your poison's off, you can just walk right past him and not worry about it. He didn't have... No, he does have ult, so he might have ulted you, but honestly, even if he ulted you, still had your ultimate to try and tank him out, and then just go back and proxy wave or 2 and then go back. There's a lot of stuff. A lot of little stuff like that, to where you have the lead and you're able to put pressure, and you did put pressure. You put a lot of pressure on mid, but you could have done more. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
But overall, yeah, I think you played pretty well this game. The biggest things would be understanding how to push your lead by counter jungling and proxying, and then the itemization for sure. I think the itemization was pretty big here, especially for those last few fights, like the Baron fight where Lucian was kind of really melting you, and then the fight up here in mid lane where he really melted you too. Not this one, the one right before. There's one other one here, I think.
Yeah.
Was it here? Not sure. I think it was. That was really good engage on Lucian. I like that a lot. Because like you guys are winning the fights at this point, but then your team throws a little bit, right? They'll throw here or there, and they'll make it harder for you. And then it kind of gets to the point where Lucian, he in the last few fights just kind of goes crazy in a situation where ideally at this stage you should have like an armor item or 2, like, because just the base glacial shred, it's 20 armor. It's really not enough at this point to tank out Lucian. But I'm not saying that if you itemize properly and if you proxied more and ganked mid like a few more times, or if you counter jungled then tried to kill Elise, I'm not saying that would have won you the game, but it would have made it a little bit more even to compensate for your bot lane, right?
Yeah.
Because overall you did play this game really well. It's just those 2 little things that could have adjusted a little bit to maybe get more mileage out of Singed, right? This fight right here was kind of big. That's like maybe like if I had to identify one big mistake, this would be the only one really. That team fight right here, where you chased Elise. But other than that, there was no big mistakes. Like there was just the itemization was a small mistake, and the not proxying enough was a small mistake. Other than that, I think you played well. It's hard to carry an inting bot lane like this, but the way you can make it more even is by min-maxing, really is what it is. It's just like making sure that you're itemizing properly, that you're, putting enough pressure where you need to, counter juggling when you can. Oh, yeah, he's shredding you. That's the fight I was thinking of. He just kind of, your ult was down, but it's still really fast with Black Cleaver and the crit and everything. He basically did that build just to counter you. Besides the Tabby, this is only to counter you. Because I think he recognized the fact that you were the only threat really on your team. Oh yeah, you were the only threat on your team. Everyone else on your team is playing like butt, besides Kassadin. Graves is dying too much for being Graves. Kassadin's fine, I think, but he's playing pretty poorly. And then, yeah, he lost all of his stacks too. So these 3 items he has is just to counter you, Phantom Dancer, Black Cleaver, and Play the Rune King. Then after he finishes Infinity Edge, it's very hard to deal with them with no armor. Yeah. I don't know if you would have won if you did that, but it would have been a lot more even. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. What we were talking about before the session about the runes and stuff like that, when you brought up domination as a secondary, I think Cheap Shot is really, really good if you want to start trying that out. With Rylai's, Cheap Shot and Rylai's together is actually really, really nice. I had a few games I was playing where I had ridiculous numbers of true damage from Cheap Shot. Definitely something to consider. In a game like this, it would be hard because they have so much crowd control, but it might be good if you can get like a decent fling off. I think your tenacity give you a lot of value this game versus their slows, but at the same time, the true damage would have been pretty helpful too. So something to consider. The healing from Ravenous Hunter would also be decent if you were looking to proxy more waves, but that wasn't really a part of the game here, so hard to say. But if I were you, that's what I would have changed in this game to maybe make it a bit more even.
Yeah, I think so too.
Do you have any questions or anything like that?
Not really.
Keep watching that Varus get one shot by the TF there. Ouch. Yeah, if you don't have any questions, we can probably end soon. I just want to ask, is this how you always play the lane versus like melees? Do you usually just push in and then not proxy, or how does that go?
Usually, yes.
Okay. Start trying to proxy a wave or two, and it's gonna take some time, I guess, to get used to it, just because you have to be aware of the enemy jungler position, and usually you don't want to do it without your ult, because you want to do it when you have your ult up to try and counter jungle. Usually the early game proxying without the ultimate is only done at level 1. At least this is how I do it, only at level 1. Then I don't come back here until I have my ultimate, but after I have ultimate, it's like fair game to just be back there all the time. Especially versus Malphite, who you can't solo kill if he's playing very carefully.
Yeah.
Because if Malphite can't be your target, then it has to be Elise. It has to be Elise or TF, and you targeted the TF pretty hard, and you killed him twice, actually. You blew his flash the first time, then you killed him again when you rotated again. But at the same time, you can also make Elise your target whenever she's doing one of these 3 camps or the Scuttle camp. I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah, incorporate that into your gameplay. As far as like analyzing what defensive items you need versus teams, enemy composition does matter, but the thought process I kind of use here is the only real people that they had at that point, like back here, not here, where was it? Okay, here. So the only real people that they have that are pretty fed is Elise and Lucian. Malphite not so much, TF not so much. Eventually, yeah, TF gets pretty big and he starts doing a lot of damage, but at that point you would have had enough MR to deal with him anyways if you had Visage as your 4th item as opposed to your 3rd item. So it's not like the biggest deal in the world because of how TF works as a champion. He's very cooldown based, he's very burst based. We talked about that before. But yeah. Just having that Deadman's play at any point in the game would have maybe turned some of these fights just a little bit in your favor. So
yeah, this is somehow awkward.
Yeah.
Try to, build armor versus 180.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely is going to feel awkward. Here's another way to think about it, right? So what you want to do versus a champion like Lucian is, well, I guess not just Lucian, but every AD carry is look at their build. If you consider that he has a black cleaver in his build, that's armor shred, and that's like a lot of AD too. Blade of the Ruined King, it does have some magic damage, but Blade of the Ruined King is there mostly for the lifesteal and % health damage, which I'm not sure if they changed that to physical. I think it's still magic, right? Blade of the Ruined King. They might have changed it back to physical. I'm not sure. Oh, it is physical, actually. So Blade of the Ruined King's % max health damage is also physical. Active is magic damage. It's 100 active magic damage, but the percent health damage is physical. Cleaver is all physical, and he's going to shred you very quickly with Cleaver because he gets auto attack, that's 1 proc. His Q, 2 procs. Passive, 2 more procs, that's 4. Then he has another ability, that's 5. And then you only need 6 to max it out, but he would get up to 7 auto attacks on you, or 7 procs of it very quickly. So he's, no matter what, if he's fighting, he's probably going to reduce your armor as much as he can with Black Cleaver.
Yeah.
Which means with not having Tabby or not having like even 1 armor item, it's gonna hurt. Maybe not even like Dead Man's Plate, like the whole thing. Maybe like a chain vest or a bramble vest, something like that. Just something more than
even something armor.
Yeah, just something more than Glacial Shroud. But personally, I would have gone for the full Dead Man's Plate.
Yeah.
Considering the comp, it takes. How long have you been playing?
Singed or
Singed, yeah, just Singed.
Maybe, yeah.
A year? Okay. Yeah,
maybe.
Itemization is something that I still get wrong sometimes, for sure. But it wasn't something that I got decent at until like 2 or 3 years into playing Singe, where I started to realize, okay, well, maybe I should build differently here, considering like after learning the limits of what Singe can do and what he can't do. It's something that will come with time, I think, but hopefully, like, talking about my thought process and what I would think about when considering itemization here is kind of helpful in determining itemization strategies, I hope.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Gotcha. Do you have any other questions or anything like that?
Not really.
Alrighty.
At the moment.
Well, if you have any questions afterwards, you still have my Discord and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, hopefully this is helpful for you. Just to identify like some gameplay elements to change and things like that to improve a bit.
Yeah.
All right, awesome, man. We will go ahead and end there. Thank you very much.
Yep. Thank you.